When I'm teaching folks how to do electrocardiograms, one of the questions I get asked is, can we calculate their heart rate using the ECG tracing? The answer to that is simply yes. Is it going to give me an exact count? No, because people's heartbeats vary from minute to minute, but it's going to give you a pretty good approximation. Does it work for everyone, even the people that have irregular heartbeats? We can make it work for just about anyone. So how does it work? Well, there's no one test or one formula. You have several different ones, and it depends on how accurate you want to be and whether, again, the person's heart rate is regular or irregular. So, as we said, if somebody's heartbeat is regular, it's very predictable. So there are certain formulas we can use to calculate their heart rate simply because it is so regular and so predictable. Other people with irregular heartbeats, not so much. So we have to kind of look at the tracing initially to see, is this regular or is it irregular, and that will determine how we're going to calculate it out. So what do we know? We know that EKG paper moves at a rate of 25 millimeters per second, and we also know that each large box on the ECG is 5 millimeters square. So therefore, if the paper moves or the stylus moves at it will move 5 large boxes every second. Knowing this, we can figure out how many large boxes we have in 1 minute. So we have 60 seconds in 1 minute. We multiply that by 5 boxes per second, and when we cross out the like terms, seconds and seconds, we have 300 boxes in 1 minute. So, simply by counting the large boxes between 2 beats and then dividing that number into 300, we will get what we want. So we're going to start here, and we're going to count the spaces between the R waves. So this is pretty close to a large line. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just a little bit short of 4, but this is going to give us an approximate heart rate. So what do? We know there are 4 large squares between the R waves, so 300 divided by 4 is 75. So we know that the patient's heart rate is about 75, but because it's not quite 4 big boxes, we know it's going to be a little bit faster than that. So the rule of 300 is just taking those and counting it out. Is there a more exact way or a more accurate way? Sure. We said the paper moves at 25 millimeters per second and that each box is 5 millimeters square. Inside the large boxes there are 5 smaller squares, and they are 1 millimeter square. So as the paper moves 25 millimeters, it's going to move 25 small squares per second. So how do we figure that out? We know that there are 25 small boxes in 1 second. Multiply that by 60 seconds in 1 minute, and then we know that we have 1,500 small boxes every minute. Second, we know that there are 5 small boxes in 1 large box, and there are 300 large boxes in 1 minute. So 300 boxes in 1 minute times 5 little boxes per big box, we're going to get 1,500 boxes again in 1 minute. So what do? Just like in the other one where we were counting the large boxes, now we're going to count the small boxes. So we start here and we count them out, and we're going to find we have 19 boxes between the two. So we simply take 1,500, we divide it by 19, and we're going to get 78.9 or 79 beats per minute. Now the other one was 75, but that would have been based on 20 boxes per minute. So this is not unreasonable. 19 obviously is a shorter span of time than 20 boxes would be. So our heart rate's going to be a little bit faster. So a more accurate reading of this patient's pulse would be 79 beats per minute. So what do we do if their heartbeat is irregular? And in this method, we're going to look at irregular heartbeat, but we can use it for regular heartbeats as well. And you can see it just counting across the bottom here. And it's showing you pretty much exactly what we do. We have these tick marks here, here, and here. And when we count it out, we will find there are 15 large boxes between these two marks. So that would be 3 seconds. There are 5 big boxes per second. 15 divided by 3 or by 5 is 3 seconds. So each one of these tick marks is 3 seconds apart. So what are we going to do? What we're going to do is we're going to count the number of beats between these hash marks, just like we saw in the example that was going across the other screen. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we count those 8. You can either add a 0 or multiply by 10. It comes out exactly the same. In this case, 8 times 10 is 80 beats per minute, or 8 and put a 0 after it. Again, we have 80 beats per minute. Again, simply count your PQRST complexes. Now this heartbeat is this is pretty regular, but we can do it with irregular. Your hash mark is there, there, and there. And the picture got smaller after I put my numbers up, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in this case. So 7 times 10 is 70 beats per minute. Now, what do we do if their heartbeat is irregular? Well, you can pretty much do the same thing. Now, the 1500 rule and the 300 rule aren't going to work because it is not regular. Now, the physician can either use the 6-second method, look at a 6-second strip and count the number and put a 0 on it. That's going to give them a very rough approximation, but the most accurate is to do a 1-minute or a 2-minute rhythm strip using usually lead 2 of the ECG. So what do? First, we attach all of our leads as usual. We select the manual setting and we hit start. Look at our watch and hit the standardization mark at the very start, and at exactly 1 minute, hit the standardization button again, and if we're only doing a 1-minute rhythm strip, we can then stop. But if it's a 2-minute, let the tracing continue, and then at exactly 1 minute later, hit the mark again, and then stop the machine. Okay, that's going to give you a little square box right in here. Should be about 10 little squares high or 2 large squares high. It's flat on the top, very easy to notice. And then simply count all of the PQRST patterns within that 1 or 2 minutes. If you do it for 1 minute, you count them up. That is your heart rate for that minute. If you did a 2-minute rhythm strip, count them all up for the 2 minutes, and then divide by 2, and that will give you the average heart rate over that 2-minute period. After you've counted it out, document it in the record, fold the tracing up, and give it to the provider. Now, is there any other way to do it? Sure. Most of our machines today, right here, this has our heart rate of 115 beats per minute. It calculates it out, whether it's regular or irregular, and it puts it right here. Is this absolutely accurate? If you have a regular heartbeat, yes it is. If it's irregular, again, it's going to kind of average it out to give you an approximate heart rate. So some of these are going to count them out for you. I hope this takes away some of the mystery out of calculating heart rates on the ECG. If you have any questions, please get with your instructor, and I'm sure they'll be willing to help you out. You have a great day.